Hey, everybody, this is Carl White broadcasting from the secret headquarters here at the Mortgage Marketing Animals / Freedom Club. And you are listening to Loan Officer Freedom, #1 podcast in the world today for loan officers. And did you hear, by the way,
Tell me.
that we went over 1 million downloads of the podcast now? Did I tell you about that? Isn't that cool?
That's very cool.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you guys for making that happen. And
Absolutely.
it's from you forwarding it. So that has just made all the difference in the world. And I really appreciate you guys helping us out with that. So, all right. So you're listening to the right episode if you want to hear about how to take vacations. Now, that might sound like kind of an odd topic because a lot of loan officers are going through a hard time right now. And yet others are having their best months ever. And so we're still doing great. And as a branch manager, many of the loan officers in my branch are literally having their best months ever.
That's very cool.
And it is. And so I think, I think we either choose or choose not to participate in a downturn. Because all you got to do is just do right activity and increase market share. So if there's less loans closing, that doesn't need to affect our business at all. If rates go up, that doesn't need to affect our business at all. If less people are buying houses or refinancing, that doesn't need to affect our business at all. All we got to do is just increase market share, do good work, do the activity that actually brings loans in, and focus on that. But the only way you can do that is if you recharge your batteries. And so that's what we're going to talk about, is recharging batteries. Did I introduce you?
No.
I don't think I did.
So those that aren't looking at us.
So those of you that are watching this live, because we do broadcast this live on the Breakfast Club, this is the lovely Mrs. White. And this is the second podcast that we've done together.
Yes.
The first one was on money.
Yes.
And saving your money and becoming, how do you become wealthy?
Right.
And this one, I think, falls in that same vein, is you've got to recharge your batteries.
Yes.
If you want to close more loans. I mean, there's just no way around it. We hear the old thing, and if you've ever been to my live events, I talk about this, where if you have a racehorse right before the Kentucky Derby, they don't run that horse every day. They let it rest. Or like a boxer in a boxing ring, if in between rounds, one's allowed to be rested and have an ice pack put on their back and words of encouragement, having a chance to catch their breath, while the other is having to do push-up and jumping jacks in between rounds, the one that's rest is more likely to win. Mm-hmm. And so you have got to structure your day, because it's not how many hours you're working, it's how effective you are during the hours that you work. Working. Yeah. And so I'm on a 32-hour work week. I'm getting ready to notch it down. I think I mentioned this on a couple podcasts where, so my schedule is Monday through Thursday, and I take Fridays off. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I take off. And I work 9 to 5, and I've changed it a little bit already, where I'm getting off at 3 o'clock so I can go on my little bicycle ride. But what we're talking about today is not just taking Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays off, even though some of this can go over do that, is how do we take like a week or 2 weeks off, and why do we? So I think we already addressed the why. Is number one, you'll spend time with the people that you love, and whether that's with yourself, and we want to love ourselves, right? Because and I used to do that more than I do now. I used to take, I wouldn't say vacations, but like I'd go on motorcycle rides for 4 or 5 days up into the mountains and do that solo sometimes, or go off, quote, with the guys. I've never been much of a, the guys going off on trips, to Vegas or anything like that. But sometimes on motorcycles, I would take up to a week off, ride my motorcycle up the mountains with sometimes solo, and sometimes with my with some guy friends, even though you have a motorcycle license too. So
right, we did that for a little bit.
So you've done a couple. You're just not into the longer rides like I am.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
can't sit for that long.
So the first reason, number one, you want to take time off is you want to spend time with the people that you love. And whether that's your friends, your dog, your cat, your mom, your dad, your son, your daughter, your significant other, or just yourself, that's the reason, number one, because I can tell you right now, I don't remember the loan that I closed last, I don't know, insert in time, last year, last August, the week of the 20th. I don't remember that, right? But let me tell you what I do remember. I remember our trip that we took to Alaska. That was really cool, wasn't it? Yeah, we went with Scotty and Stacy. Really, really cool. I do remember going to Russia and Estonia. I remember going to Denmark. Copenhagen was fantastic. Just a great city. I remember cruising down the Rhine River in Germany and having super fresh. I'm not much of a drinker. I think everybody knows that, but having super fresh German beer in Germany was just unbelievable. I remember going to Hungary and Budapest, such a beautiful place. I remember going to the Netherlands and we did the cruise there and doing a tour of the
tulip one?
The tulip. The tulip, yeah, the tulip festival was just outside of Amsterdam, was unbelievable. And same thing with the windmills, the classic windmills, been there for hundreds of years. I remember that. I remember going to Norway, right? I remember going to Norway. I remember going to the Arctic Circle and watching the sun never go down. Like the sun just kind of circled the sky, but never went down. I remember going to Austria. That was a beautiful place. And sometimes it's just like we just, 3 weeks ago, we were up in Maine for a week.
Seeing all the lighthouses.
We did a lighthouse tour with Ralph and Kristen Watkins. Yeah. And we just got back yesterday from a week in Paris. Was just absolutely wonderful. And then we take frequent trips up to Myrtle Beach. We got a second place up there, and our daughter is up there. And then our son's in Boston, so we go visit him. And I remember that trip. We went to Biltmore. Yes. I remember that. And we're getting ready to go to Italy here in September. So as we're recording this, this is the end of June. So we just got back from Paris, and now we're going to Italy in 2 months or whatever it is. So I do remember all those things, but I don't remember any loans that I closed last, I don't know, March. And we closed probably last March. I'm just hundreds and hundreds of loans. And I don't remember any of those, but I do remember the trips. And so while we need to close the loans to go on the trips, we have to go on the trips to close the loans, right? Because I think one thing that's really important is, there's a saying, the journey is the destination, right? Some people say it's not the destination, it's the journey. No, the journey is the destination. Like there is no destination. I mean, eventually the destination, is going to be in the ground or in an urn someday. Nobody likes to think about that. So now's the time to take those vacations. So let's talk about how you make that happen. So the first thing, what myself and the lovely Mrs. White, what we do is usually once a year, and sometimes twice a year, but usually once a year, we sit down, like typically say like it'd be in November. What vacations do we want to take next year? Because a mistake that a lot of people make is they say, well, it's too busy right now, I can't schedule anything, right? And if we didn't schedule things a year in advance, it'd be too busy for us, right? Because we got a lot going on. You got a lot going on. I got a lot going on, both in our training company and in the being a branch manager, one of the largest branches in the nation. Man, we got a lot going on. And so if I waited until, okay, now let's schedule it for 2 weeks from now, like it would never happen, like never. Yeah. And really, I gotta. What's that?
We need to get some time.
Yeah. And so we found the best way to do that is to literally schedule your year out all at one time. Like, where do we want to go this year? And we might say, in fact, we were just talking about that when we were in Paris. Where's next? Like, where do we want to go to next? And it might be Paris again, by the way. If you've never been to Paris, Paris is great. Paris is a beautiful city. It's kind of like, it's a capital, of course. It's kind of like New York. It's not as big as New York, but it's New York without, and I love New York, right? So I love going to New York,
I do too.
But it's New York without the crazy. and it's New
Yeah.
York without the homeless situation. And again, I'm not saying the homeless, no, there's no political statement here, right? I think
Right.
everybody deserves a home, of course, but it's Paris is just a wonderful, wonderful place.
The weather
And
was great.
oh, the weather, yeah. So again, as
And it
we're
was
recording,
June.
yeah, it was June and it was nice and cool.
Mhm.
It was absolutely just stunningly beautiful place,
Mhm.
easy to get around, everybody friendly, everybody helpful. But we decided to go to Paris like last year. So here's what I want you to do. Action item number one, and we're going to talk a little bit about how you can't, let's talk about this first. You can't, like, vacations don't just happen because they're expensive, right? They're expensive. So you earn the right to do it. And you earn the right to do it by doing what we call the daily success plan. And so in the daily success plan, which if you've been listening to podcasts for any period of time at all, there's a specific action items that we do every Monday, specific action items we do every Tuesday, every Wednesday, and every Thursday. Basically, it boils down to prospecting for 2 hours a day. So for 2 hours a day, and we like 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., we're prospecting. And that's outbound phone calls, right? That's setting meetings or appointments or coffee appointments with very specific conversations by design that we first we're meeting with them, and then we do follow up with them every single week to get referrals, right? And because we prospect for just 2 hours a day, 2 hours, just two, because we prospect those 2 hours a day, we can literally live our dream life. Because if you prospect 2 hours a day and increase your loans by another, say, 5 or 10 loans a month, which is not uncommon at all. In fact, I would say that's, if you're prospecting 2 hours a day using our plan, I would certainly expect you, and you haven't been doing it before, I would certainly expect you to close another 5, 10 loans a month. And let's just split the difference. Let's just say it was even just at 8 which would be a very modest increase, 8 on top of what you're currently doing now. And let's say you make, I don't know, $3,000 per loan, average loan amount, is probably 300,000, give or take these days.
Yes.
And if you're making, 100 basis points per se, that'd be $3,000 per loan. Another 8 loans, 8 times 3 is 20. That's another 24 grand a month, right? 24 grand a month adds up. I mean, you can chisel out. And again, that's on top of what you're currently doing now. And because we do that prospecting, we've earned the right to go on these vacations, right? So
I don't think you can't go on them, right?
What's
A lot
that?
of people think they can't go on vacations because they have to work.
Well, and we're going to talk, well, all right, that's a great point. So, Carl, I can't go on a vacation because, like in Paris, we're 2 hours in front, ahead.
6 hours.
I'm sorry, 6 hours.
Yeah.
So we're 6 hours ahead. And so you can't, number one, you don't want to work when you're on vacation because that's the whole
point of the vacation.
That's the whole point of the vacation.
Right.
So you go, all right, Carl, how do I take a vacation? Well, let's say if you're a loan officer, every loan officer needs an assistant, every single one, 100%. Every single loan officer needs an assistant. Now, if you're closing, say, 6, 7, 8 loans a month, you need your own assistant. At least I think so. And as a branch manager, and we recommend this to everybody else, of course, is loan officers that are closing, I don't know, 8-ish loans a month, they're in line for getting their own assistant. And those is doing less than that. Let's say you're closing, say, 3 loans a month. We might have 3 loan officers sharing one assistant, but that assistant can do virtually everything for you. They can help because they're all licensed. So I recommend you get a licensed assistant. If they're not licensed, they have to get licensed the first 90 days. If they don't get licensed the first 90 days, they're out. But I'd say today, we're only hiring licensed assistants because there's plenty of them, because loan officers that aren't prospecting or decreasing their business, they're laying off fantastic help. And we've never found it easier to hire good, qualified, well-experienced licensed assistants right now. So they can help answer your phone. They can help take your application. They can help you structure your loan. They certainly can help you chase conditions, get the bank statements and pay stubs. And if you're only closing 2 loans a month, you probably don't need a lot of help structuring loans because you're not getting that many, right? But everybody needs to have somebody chasing conditions, right? Everybody needs to have somebody chasing conditions, because if you're spending time chasing conditions, well, that's why you can't go on a vacation, because you're spending time chasing conditions instead of prospecting. And so you have to have an assistant.
To cover you, huh?
100%, because otherwise you can't go on vacation. Now, if you're a branch manager, as I am, and I know many of you are this listening, you have to have somebody that's in charge when you're gone. Like when you're sick, or when you're taking a day off, or when you're at your kid's graduation, who's in charge? And if you go, well, nobody, that's the wrong answer. Like you have to have somebody in charge. And originally it would either be maybe a processor, your processor, or again, your loan officer assistant, or your loan partner, your production partner, whatever you want to call this person. And so that person's in charge when you're gone. You go, wait a minute, Carl, my assistant, my processor, my loan partner, my production assistant isn't good enough to be in charge when I'm gone. You got the wrong one then. So you need to get another one that is. That's like if I've got a field goal kicker, go, hey, wait a minute, we can't kick field goals because my field goal kicker misses 2 out of 3. I got the wrong field goal kicker, right? No hard feelings. They're just not up to the task. And understand that I choose that person. And so I'm going to choose not, right? Because otherwise I can't go on vacation with you, Maria, or the kids, our kids are going with us to Italy when we go. They went with us to Norway and Estonia and Denmark and the Netherlands and Hungary and Germany. They go with us almost, most of the ones we go, they got their own careers, a little harder for them to take off time. One's a physician, the other's an engineer. And so they got like, quote, real jobs, not real jobs. They have structured jobs, right? Where somebody else is, at this point, at least somebody else is in charge. Right. And so they've only got so much vacation time. Whereas you and I, and everybody that's listening to this, you dictate your own vacation time. Like you're the one that dictates it, as long as you're doing loan getting activity 2 hours a day from 9 to 11. Now, if you're not doing loan getting activity, I want you to write down all the vacations that you want to take. If you're not doing loan getting activity, if you're not prospecting, that's okay. My dear friend Kevin Gillespie taught me that's okay if you don't want to do that. Just get a black marker and draw through that line. I'm not going to go to Italy and take my kids and you on a wonderful trip because I choose not to prospect for 2 hours a day. Like when you look at it that way, who wouldn't do that? And again, all I got to prospect is 2 hours a day. It's not that hard. And by the way, if you go, well, Carl, I don't even know what prospecting looks like what do you say and how do you set them up? Hey, we'll give you all that. And we'll give you the exact same information that we give our Freedom Club members. And if you go to freedomclubdemo.com, freedomclubdemo.com, we'll set you up a free call and we'll literally map out exactly what that prospecting for 2 hours a day looks like. So, all right. Good. So you have to have help. Somebody has to be in charge when you're gone. If the answer is nobody, fix it. If you're a branch manager, you're in charge. Get a good quality loan partner or processor that's in charge when you're gone and give them authority to make decisions. And by the way, if they make a decision that you disagree with when you get back, let it go, right? Because you can't micromanage their work, and you have to be okay with sometimes things don't go just as I would have done it. And frankly, sometimes things go better than if I would have done it myself. And sometimes when I do things, I make mistakes, right? So it's not like we want to make no mistakes. That's not going to happen. No. Like if you look at Tom Brady, arguably the best quarterback ever, if he say, I can make 0 interceptions, well, he couldn't make any passes. If he didn't make any passes, we wouldn't go to the Super Bowl, right? So you're going to have some interceptions from time to time. So the 0 mistake, well, that's certainly a goal. We certainly shoot for that. That's not what's expected though. Like things are going to happen. Right. Yeah, things are going to happen. Now, if it's happening all the time, we got a problem. If the same thing happens over, 2-3 times, we got a major problem. We would get somebody to replace that person. So, all right. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go sit down with whoever you'd go on your vacation with. And if it's just you, well, then just you. Totally okay, right? If you have a wife or a husband or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, like whoever, you're just your kids or your mom or your dad or whoever, sit down with them, chisel out about 2 hours, get out a map of the world and go, where do I want to go? And you can go anywhere, like anywhere. We're looking at, it's not time to schedule it yet, but we're looking at going to the Antarctica I know Scotty and Stacy's going there next February, and we were thinking about like going to Antarctica. And you asked me when I mentioned that, when you go, what's there? And I go, I don't know. Let's go find out. Right. So let's go find out. Something else I want to do. I want to go to Vietnam, and I'm going to rent a helicopter, and we're going to take a trip down the Mekong Delta, like some of my friends did during the Vietnam War. And I'm not saying the war was a good thing or a bad thing. What I'm saying is some of my friends experienced helicopter rides down the Mekong Delta, and some of them didn't make it back. And ever since I was that age where that was all happening, I was just under the age of being drafted. But some of my older friends that were friends of like my older brothers got drafted, or they joined up, and some of them came back. Most of them came back. Some of them didn't. And I've just got this thing in me. I want to go. I don't know, just for whatever reason, I want to go do that. And so look at the atlas and just pick out wherever you want to go. And maybe that's 100 miles down the road to the mountains, or to the beach, or in our case, to Disney, or yeah, we love Disney. Or it might be a state park. You want to go do a camping trip that's 10 miles down the road, like wherever it is. It doesn't have to be Estonia, but don't choose not Estonia because, well, I can't do that. It costs too much. Choose the park because that, of all the places in the world, on that weekend, that's where, or that week, or 3 days or 4 days, that's where you want to go. So don't take places off because, well, I can't afford that. Because what we found is when you schedule these vacations and you put this time on your calendar, and I see that for next year, that incentivizes me to do good work. And it's like, I'm promising you, without an act of, hurricane, or, one of us getting sick or breaking a leg, or COVID, like when that happened, we had to cancel those trips.
Yeah, we did.
Short of something, it's not going to be my lack of actions that's not going to make us get there. I'm going to do my daily success plan, right? I'm going to do my
You're committed to do it.
I am, because I see it on the calendar, and I feel like I owe it to you. Like, I'm not just going to let me down, I'm going to let you down, and that's not going to happen, right? That's not going to happen. And so when I schedule these vacations and we map these things out and we put them on the calendar and we buy the tickets, right? That incentivizes me to do good work, because I go, all I got to do is prospect 2 hours a day, Monday through Thursday, and we can go on these amazing trips. And we probably go somewhere, I don't know, what once a month, once every other month, something like that.
Yeah, because we'll take short trips, the getaways.
Yeah.
Going camping. We love the RV.
Yeah. So we got a little motor home, and we'll take off on that. And sometimes, 4 days, 5 days, probably not too much shorter than that. And if we go to Europe, probably 7 to the absolute minimum. Typically, we'd go for like 2 or 3 weeks. Typically, when we go to Europe, but it won't happen unless we put it in our calendar, like right now, for next year.
Yeah, I think it's important to put it on the calendar.
Set
the time. This is the time you're going to go. Make sure and prepare for it.
Yeah, and when you go, I feel real strongly, go first class. So get a first class ticket on the plane, or business class. So when you fly, for those of you that have never done that, when you fly long trips, say like to Hawaii, that was a nice trip too. So when you fly to, like, we're here in Florida, so Hawaii is like a 9-hour plane trip, something like that. For us going to Europe, same thing. It's about a 9-hour plane trip, something like that. They have first class, business class, and then coach. First class and business class, I really don't know what the difference is, because it's the exact same. Like you get a bed, like it's a chair, but it reclines like totally flat, like a bed. It's like a little pod, and you got your own like little nightstand. I mean, it's really nice.
It is.
And so the first class and business class, they look at the pods, I call them pods, chairs, or whatever they are, look absolutely identical. So I really don't know what the difference is, but I know, like, for Paris, I think our first class was like, what was it, like 4,000, something like that.
Yes.
So it's about 4,000 each way.
Yes.
For each of us. So 8,000, so 16,000 round trip. First class was more than double that, but it's the exact same chair, bed, pod, nightstand. So the only thing I can figure, and we get like the old heated nuts and,
Yeah.
they
Albany.
tuck us in and feed us grapes. I mean, it's awesome. It's a wonderful
Well, they didn't feed
experience.
grapes.
And so I don't know what they do different in first class, because it seems to be exactly the
Business
same.
class was great.
So business class is fine. It's about half price. And but when we got to Paris, we slept because we're laid down. We could sleep. We get there, we're awake. Like we're ready to go. And same thing with flying home.
Yeah, it was good.
We slept, right? So it doesn't seem like a big deal. And then when we go on our trips, we get these private tours. And so we went all these museums and castles, and we get a private tour. So everything's front of the line. You get front of the line pass. They pick us up at the hotel.
It was a real treat.
Yeah, if they're taking us, you have somebody meet you at the airport. They're holding a sign, because I don't speak French, or German or Estonian or Dutch or anything. So when we get there, I want somebody to meet me at the airport. They got a little sign. They're going to walk us through. If we have to get on a train, they walk us to the train. They buy our train ticket for us. They put us on the train. We get off the next train. Somebody's there to help us out. When we go to the castles, you get a front of the line pass. Like it's just wonderful. And so the days are kind of mapped out. Here, go do this. This is a free day. Go do this in the morning. Go do this in the afternoon. And
it's a very cool way to travel.
It is, all because we prospect. All because we prospect. And then you enjoy your shopping. Most time you just pick out a scarf or something like that. On this last one, you went to Louis Vuitton, which is made in Paris. So we're in Paris. So of course you got to go to Louis Vuitton. You can't go in there just to walk around. You got to buy something. So, and maybe you buy 2 things or 3 things, right? And it's okay to do that because we prospect 9 to 11, Monday through Thursday. So all these things become possible simply with prospecting. The wonderful thing about what we do for a living is you are in charge of your income, right? Nobody else. You're in charge of your income. You're in charge of your market share. You're in charge of your income. And, the wonderful thing about being a loan officer, work in the mortgage community is, it's kind of like there's this old thing that we're in a movie, and you're the director, you're the screenwriter, you write the script, you decide who your supporting characters are. Like you're in complete control over that. Now, it's our belief system that God's in charge of my next breath. But what I do during that breath, as long as he gives it to me, I'm in charge of that. Like we live in a free country, and I can do anything legal, ethical, moral. I can do anything that I want to. And so wonderful things can happen if you just simply prospect. And then we're in charge of our income. We're in charge of what we can afford. We're in charge of what kind of car I can ride. We're in charge of what kind of house I can do. And it's not overnight. Understand that, like when we're building an empire, it takes a little bit of time. So I don't want you to misunderstand me saying, hey, all this happens, snap of the finger and flash. Because understand the activity that you have this month. So as we're recording this is the end of June. So what would that be? So our activities in February, March, and April set us up for how we're doing in June and July. And so the activity we do July, August, and September is going to be for like December, January, and February. And so understand there's about a 90-day run rate in this stuff, that if I start doing my prospecting, I'll start seeing some difference right away, but the full impact will be about 90 days. But as long as we're doing it each week, when we are at work, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 11, then it's a rolling 90 days, and it can truly, truly live an epic life. And I just understand that, and I know I said it, but I can't overemphasize it, that rates don't dictate my income. How many houses are being sold, if it's decreased or increased, doesn't dictate my income. My action items of prospecting, doing loan getting activity, for you branch managers, maybe adding loan officers to your team. So doing that activity, like doing sales activity, whatever your sales is or whatever that looks like for you, doing that activity, like figuring out what's the number one thing you do that makes you most of your money. And for most of you, it's going to be prospecting referral partners. Not everybody, but for most of you. And so if that's the number one thing you do, and the question we always ask, how many hours, minutes, if any, did you spend doing that activity? And for most loan officers, that answer is 0. Just change that from 0 to 2 hours a day. It will literally change your life. I mean, literally, it'll change your life. It's pretty good these days, isn't it?
Yes.
It is. It's really good. But because we do the single activity that makes us most of our money, we do that for 2 hours a day. So this is not a given. You have to earn this, but you're totally in charge of that. And you can go on these vacations, which I think is very important. But the other thing about going by the way, you don't go first class so you say, hey, I went first class, or look at me, or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that, right? But I will tell you that, like, when we do these things, I do feel special, right?
Yeah.
And not for other people to look at, right? It's not about that, but for me to look at me, especially in my case, growing up, the working poor, that I feel very special, blessed, but special. And so when I come back, I feel special, and I do special work. Like like when I get those rewards, or the carrots, right? The rewards, I go, wow, if I prospected, I get these wonderful things. It makes me want to do that more. And so it's okay to feel special, again, not in a braggadocious way, right? So very humbly grateful to be treated special.
Yes.
And because we paid for that experience to
Right.
be special. But then because of that, I do special work when I'm at work. I work extra, not long hours, not harder. I work more efficiently. And I work more efficiently by prospecting people that are business worthy of being prospected, right? So which we call the qualified agents, or a few branch managers, the qualified loan officers. And so it's okay to feel special. It is, again, humbly, but it's okay to feel special. So I think we kind of covered it here.
Yes.
So so do yourself a favor, map out your vacation.
That's important.
It is. And I would say a minimum of, say, I would do 4 majors and say 2 minors. So that's only one every other month. So 4 majors, which I would say is a minimum of a week off, and then 2 minors, which might be 3, 4, 5 days. It still might be a week off, but maybe the majors would be like going to Amsterdam. Love Amsterdam, wonderful city.
And a lot of things in the United States.
And that's what I say. And then 2 minors might be Niagara Falls, San Diego, Oregon. Man, I have to tell you, my favorite state in the nation, as far as like beautiful, is Utah. And not in the mountains, but the deserts of Utah. It's just incredible, absolutely beautiful place. So I would consider that like as a minor, because it only takes, I don't know, from here to Utah, 4-hour flight, something like that to go. So map out 4 majors, 2 minors, and man, I would love to hear what yours are, man, and maybe give suggestions, for other people, and help inspire other people. Hey, if you're not a part of our Loan Officer Breakfast Club, if you go to loanofficerbreakfastclub.com, there's a group of us, hundreds of loan officers, every Monday through Thursday. We meet at 8:30 in the morning, and we talk about what we're prospecting that day. Like we meet from 8:30 to 9 Eastern time, and adjust for wherever you are, so that at 9 o'clock, when it's time to prospect, we already know what to do. But when you join that, which again is totally free, there's no charge, loanofficerbreakfastclub.com, it'll give you the invitation to our big open mic Zoom meeting. It'll also give you an invitation to join our Facebook group. And in that Facebook group, we're simulcasting this live right now in the Loan Officer Breakfast Club. Make a comment on there about where you want to, not where you want to go, where you're going. Commit to it. Like commit to it. Put it on the calendar. Put it on the calendar. And I find that when you put it on the calendar, you'll make it work. Like that, just that one activity of making a public commitment to you and your family, you'll find the prospecting will come a lot easier. And again, if you need help with the prospecting, we'll totally hook you up. And that would be freedomclubdemo.com. And we'll give you the scripts. We'll tell you who to go after. We'll tell you exactly what activity to do each day of the week, including Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is off, as long as you've earned the right to which is prospecting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for
From
2
9 to
hours a
11.
day. Yeah, from 9 to 11. So we cover everything.
I
Hey,
think
what's
so.
been your favorite trip, by the way?
I don't know. Paris is pretty high on the list.
Paris is pretty nice. Maybe that's because it's the most recent.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what mine was. We did, and we've done a lot of cruises, but we did and the Alaska cruise was incredible. But if I had to pick one, we did a cruise. It was a 3-week cruise, 21 day. And we put in at Amsterdam and we got out at Budapest. And man, that was incredible. Where you're going through these rivers, which are not very wide, and you're literally cruising through people's backyards, like literally. And the high school band would be out there playing, and the majorettes would be, twirling their batons in the different cities. It's almost like a welcoming wagon into each city. And then walking into the cities, typically the boat would travel somewhere during the night, and then the next morning you're at another city, and maybe it's only 10 miles or 15 kilometers from the last city, but it's new to you. And man,
Yes.
that was
I like cruising. I like those vacations. It's all inclusive. You got your hotel right there. You're not.
you don't have to pack, unpack, pack,
No,
unpack.
that's
So
kind of a cool
yeah.
vacation.
Hey, well, so love to hear where you're going. Love to see what you map out. Don't participate in any decreases in the market. Claim victory. And I'm not one of those name it and claim it guys. You have to actually do action. So do that good work, do that activity, do your prospecting from 9 to 11. Make sure that you have a loan partner. If you don't have one, go to your branch manager and ask for your own. If you're closing, say, 8 loans or more, if you're closing less than that, find 2 or 3 other cats in your office, join in together. Not that you're sharing loans, but just like pitch in for the loan partner. You'll close more loans. Understand that when you get help, that's not an overhead, that's a profit center. Every single person on my team makes me money. They make good money, right? We're very generous, and they make us more money. And I allow them to take vacations, right? Because I got their back when they're on vacation, and they allow me to take vacations because they definitely have my back when I go on vacations. And all right, I think that's it. Hey, thanks for joining me.
Yes, it was fun.
Yeah, so appreciate you guys, and thanks so much. And so loanofficerbreakfastclub.com, and then to map out your what does prospecting look like, and what are the scripts, and who do we do it to? freedomclubdemo.com, freedomclubdemo.com. Hey, do me a favor, help inspire other loan officers, let them know that we can claim victory and increase our market share, increase our income during whatever the market's doing. Our income is independent of what the market's doing. And share this with 3 of your loan officer friends. They'll thank you for it. I certainly will too. I appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you when you call in. And that's it. We'll talk to you when you call in. See you on the next episode. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.